for UFC 298 here. And Jackson, you said you want to talk about Andrea Lee and Miranda Maverick first here. Walk us through this particular bout.
Yes, sir. So Miranda Maverick is priced at $4.55 to Andrea Lee's $5.35. So clearly the value lies with Miranda Maverick, and I think this is a fight that she should win. She's a high pressure fighter with nice takedowns. She's extremely strong, averages over two takedowns a fight. She does struggle sometimes when she can't get the takedown, but she does still have a positive striking differential. It's just not really her style of fighting. She's coming off a submission win over Priscilla Cachoeira, which resulted in the third round finish. And I think she's got this one. Andrea Lee she has fought some really good fighters. She is a really incredible striker. And I think this is going to test Miranda Maverick's flyweight abilities. Like Lee is very tough. She averages two takedowns per fight herself, but like that's not really her style of fighting at all. She's more of a striker. She'll tell you she's a striker, and she's coming off that loss to Natalia Silva. Can't really fault her there. Lee's on a three-fight skid here. I honestly think Miranda will get this one just because her pressure should work against Lee. She should be able to crowd her the whole fight, actually get those takedowns. So she's my pick. I like the value here. I think this one will probably go to decision too, if you want to make any plays off of that, like time of fight type plays.
Interesting, interesting. All right, moving forward to Anthony Hernandez versus Roman Kopylov. That's my best impression. There you go. Let us know your thoughts on this fight and how it's gonna break on down here.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a super fun fight. Hernandez 477, Kopylov 525. Fluffy Hernandez, he's a really good grappler. He gets about 7 takedowns a fight, but obviously that doesn't say very good things about his top control because people get up on him a lot if he takes him down 7 times a fight. He has some solid wrestling too. Will shoot takedowns pretty much the whole fight. He's willing to strike. That's not his preferred path to victory, though. Roman, on the other hand, is a pro kickboxer, like really high level kickboxer. Started his UFC career with 2 losses, but since then has put together 4 KOs in a row. Fluffy's also on a good win streak himself. And he has 92% takedown defense, which is definitely going to come in handy against Anthony Hernandez. He's going to need it. And he's coming off a KO win over Josh Frame. This is definitely going to set one of these dudes up for a ranked opponent because both of them are on nice win streaks, relatively good prospects. Anthony's going to want to crowd him the whole fight. Roman's going to want to make him pay for all of those takedown attempts. So, and I think I'm going to take Roman here. The value isn't really with him in prediction strike. It's not bad. It's basically like a pick 'em. But he has a great takedown defense. Anthony's not great at holding people down, and the skill gap on the feet is pretty wide. Roman is an underdog from a sportsbook perspective, so this is a line there I really like. Basically a pick 'em on prediction strike like him there too. A little less value though relative to odds everywhere else.
Yeah, in terms of PS, I like Hernandez just because of what you said. I mean, you can get a pretty significant favorite on a sportsbook site, and you could get him for a coin flip on PS, which anytime you can get that, I tend to lean there. I mean, I see the potential to stop takedowns, like you mentioned, with Kopylov, but I mean, anytime you can get that little bit of juice on PS, I think it's always worth taking. So I think we'll start out picking an opposite opponent here, but
Ooh,
I think we'll
Grant
agree
wants
for
to
most.
spice it up.
Hell yeah. I mean, I like it playing off the pricing differentials between the sportsbook and PS.
All right, we got Amanda Lemos next going against Cheeseburger. Mackenzie Dern. I want a cheeseburger because I see the Big Mac there. That's all I got. All right.
Is
anyways.
this Jackson? You would know, but earlier in the prelims, is that Marlon Vera's brother?
I don't know.
He's from Ecuador too. I would assume it is, but
It could. I've never thought
about
about if those dudes are brothers or not, but that Carlos definitely could be his brother.
Yeah.
Maybe we should look that up right now, honestly.
It is his brother.
Brother.
I think. But yeah. Wait, no, it's not.
Yeah,
Is it the same last name and same.
Vera is a pretty common last name, I feel like.
For those
Yeah,
in the
yeah, but I
audience,
think those are the only two Ecuadorian fighters.
Yeah, no, it would have made sense for sure.
Yeah.
these are women. They're talking about men, but this is a fight of women between Amanda Lemos and Mackenzie Dern.
What is Mackenzie Dern's photo on PS?
That's why I said cheeseburger, and I got no reaction. I was like, damn, I thought that was interesting.
I thought you were talking about a dude in the chat.
No.
The cheeseburger.
Look at that. Like, it's not even her. It's just a freaking big... That's not even cheeseburger. I know what that is. That's a damn Big Mac.
Wait, we've definitely...
It is a Big Mac.
Definitely covered a Mackenzie Dern fight before because I feel like we've looked at this burger photo.
It's kind of wild.
I'm sure we have. I don't remember going in depth on the burger, but I remember...
Oh, I'm going to go in depth on this burger.
Against Andrade.
Yeah, that's who it was.
I want to go in depth on that burger.
Well, take it away, Jackson. What are you thinking in terms of the fight outside of the Big Mac sponsorship?
I mean, so Amanda Lemos obviously presents less value than Mackenzie Dern here. Mackenzie Dern is about $1.15 cheaper, or no more than that, $1.50 cheaper. But Amanda's Muay Thai striker, does a great job at keeping the fights at her range, avoiding takedowns. Coming off a loss to Wei Li where she got absolutely ragdolled. Her takedown D before that fight was 81%, and her takedown D after that fight was 55%, which just like speaks to Wei Li. But Dern is tough, and she like did display that. She lasted a decent bit, or like for a decent amount of time against Wei Li. I don't hold that against her too much. I just really have a problem with Dern's wrestling. She is like literally the best grappler in this division, maybe the best female grappler in the UFC. But she has 14% takedown accuracy. It's just like I don't understand, and a negative striking differential. She's like definitely the most dangerous BJJ fighter in the division. She has 14% takedown accuracy. It's like stop training grappling in BJJ and like figure out how to wrestle, like figure out how to take someone down. But yeah, I think this is still good matchmaking. I think Dern could probably still have some success here, but I do have to go Amanda. I think she's going to be the better striker with good enough takedown defense at 55% to defend 14% takedown accuracy against a fighter who can't win anywhere else besides on the ground, like just sitting back, scooting at her. So I'm going Lemos here. Not much value in the pick, but...
Yeah, I mean, Dern, I feel like, is definitely the better investment. They're both coming off of losses to big names in the division. And, I mean, a win here for either one would kind of propel them back into kind of title contention. I mean, again, I might just have to go with the value here. It's pretty low confidence. I would probably stay away from this fight as an investment because I do think Lemos probably presents the best opportunity to get it done. But when you can get value on the fight in general and someone who's 6 years younger with the potential to kind of shoot up the rankings in this division, I think I probably would have to take that if I was forced to take an investment on this one. But yeah, just a pretty tough fight to call in general. So I would likely stay away. But if I had to, I think I would put my investment on Dern here just because of the way it looks on PS and kind of the age gap there.
Doug said that I would know a Big Mac when I would see one. So, thanks, Doug. Appreciate the love. Happy to have you here. Anyways, moving on to our next fight. We got Henry Cejudo versus Merab. I'm not even going to try. Walk me through it.
Dvalishvili.
Yes, sir. Dvalishvili. Merab is the more expensive fighter. Cejudo's $12.55. Merab's $14.38. Merab has insane conditioning. He's a nonstop wrestler. Will be shooting takedowns the whole time. Also can mix it up with some pretty decent striking. He averages 6.5 takedowns per 15 minutes, which is kind of one of those things I look at as a negative. He does finish a lot of fights, but you know that's a lot of takedowns. People are getting up on him, but he does have an insane tank. He's not like you never have to question if he's going to stick it out till the third round. And he also sticks to his wrestling game plan, which I really like. It makes him predictable. Oh, I like for like making money off of fighters because, it's boring, but it's like he's going to do the exact same thing every time, so it's easy to bet on. But the UFC definitely doesn't like that, and he's going up against another guy who is a wrestler in Henry Cejudo. He is an Olympic gold medal wrestler and a 2-division champion. He did retire in the middle of his title reign in 2020, but I guess he's back now, going up against Marab. His takedown accuracy is only 34% in the UFC, which is pretty low for a gold medalist wrestler. And he has some pretty good striking with a positive striking differential coming off that close loss to Aljo that people kind of thought was controversial. This is going to be completely a wrestling match. Simply put, I just don't trust Cejudo's wrestling here. He got taken down 4 times by Aljamain Sterling's absolute trash wrestling. He's going up against Marab, who's just insanely good at wrestling and a grinder. It's going to be a pretty boring fight, but I think Marab is probably going to take it.
Yeah, I have Marab pretty easily here. That Jan fight, I think we covered, or at least Wells and I did a while ago, like almost a year ago now. I think he set the record in the UFC for takedowns, at least takedown shot. I'm not sure about like completed takedowns. I mean, he was all over Peter Yan in that fight. Looked dominant, totally deserves his number 2 ranking in this division. A division that is, I mean, you like O'Malley, but it's definitely a division where the champ has weaknesses, you would say. I think either guy that takes this fight in a couple months between O'Malley and Chito Vera, both guys will be weak to a guy like Merab. So I think this is an investment you can place in this fight. And even though you're not getting the best price value here, you can hold it into that next fight and it'll be a good investment then, because I think there's a good chance that he goes into that fight a decent favorite just based on the strengths he has versus the weaknesses both of those guys have. So I like him as a good, somewhat long-term investment. I think that fight would probably get booked sometime in like August maybe or something. So this is a good time to get in now, get the little bump from the Cejudo win, and then hold your investment until that title fight, because it seems like he's got to be the next guy up. So I like that.
I like that call, and I feel like the value is actually a lot better on Prediction Strike than it looks, just because they're both such high-priced fighters. Like the $2 price difference with those high prices really isn't that bad. I feel like it's almost like
100%, especially when he's a decently significant consensus favorite. And I think, I mean, he's a decent consensus favorite in this fight, but I think he would be just as much a favorite against an O'Malley or Vera in the next fight too, if not more, just based on the tank he has and the kind of weaknesses he would pose towards either of those guys. So I like it as a long-term one.
And I think you're getting 2-to-1 odds on him on like from a sports book perspective. I still don't mind, but like it's still better on PS.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, off to our next bout. Geoff Neal versus I don't want to get canceled.
Ian Gary.
Grant, who you got?
I have Ian Gary. Something we talked about a lot in the last card was kind of that gatekeeper aspect, and obviously our guy Joe.
Gatekeeping's funny.
Was kept out of the gate. Something that we didn't see happening when we had this discussion last week. But this feels like a similar situation. You have Geoff Neal, whose last fight was kind of trying to keep Shavkat out of that upper echelon in this division. And I mean, he was dominated. He was submitted. I guess it was later in the 3rd round, so he did kind of last a while, but still a dominant fight from Shavkat. So I see this one looking similar. I think Ian Gary is closer to the caliber of a Shavkat and the guys higher up in this division than he is with Geoff Neal. Obviously, a lot of weird discussions will be had before this fight, and we'll see if Ian Gary even makes it there. He might get some bad food again and get some food poisoning or something like that. But assuming this fight happens, I think it's probably better for Ian Gary. It seemed like there was a lot of hype going into the last time he was going to fight, just with all the controversy and everything that's happened. It feels like some of that has died down. I'm sure it'll be talked about this week as we get closer to fight night. But it seems like taking that month or whatever off to kind of reset has kind of helped to the narrative a little bit. So I will be taking Ian Gary here.
Yeah, no, I totally think that like all the controversy surrounding what was going on with Ian Gary on social media and his family, like I feel like that has died down a good amount since. And it's like I honestly, if I were in Bro's position, I don't know if I could have gone out there and done that
Yeah.
fight and like trusted myself to be successful. But I do think he's probably ready now. Who knows? That illness might have been legitimate,
I think it was like
but
mono or something. I don't remember what it was. Something like that.
yeah, it was something like that, yeah. But Ian has really good footwork. He's a little bit hittable. He has solid takedown D, and he's good, which he uses to keep most fights standing. It's how he likes to fight. Great timing, catches people off guard with his speed. I'd say the advantage that Jeff has over Ian is his power. He's a great striker, solid volume, good takedown D himself. Good at dictating the pace and uses kicks to set up his super powerful hooks. He's coming off that loss to Shavkat, like Grant said. I just think without the entire Twitterverse attacking Gary, he can come up and win this fight. Avoid that big power with his quickness. And I just think Gary's the better striker here, maybe not the more powerful striker, and will be able to control that range and avoid Jeff's power. What I do really like here, though. Oh, sorry.
Hey.
What I do really like here as a bet is well, yeah, I like Ian Gary on prediction strike. I like inside the distance, no action, Jeff Neal. Elsewhere.
All right, you heard it there. All right, show Jeff Neal's face one time, and on to Robert Whitaker versus Paulo Costa.
Sure.
This one's interesting. I kind of I wish we were seeing Paulo Costa up a division. That's kind of the only situation I really want to be seeing Paulo Costa fight in right now because I thought he had more of a shot there. Obviously, he had a fight booked with Hamzat that obviously got canceled. I mean, I would be somewhat surprised if Paulo Costa even makes weight for this fight. It seems like it's been an issue for him, and this is one where he's going to have to really commit to it, going back down to middleweight when he was previously prepared to fight in light heavyweight. Robert Whitaker, speaking of gatekeepers, is the ultimate gatekeeper. He's a guy that will constantly keep people out of the top three and has proven that he can't get over the hump against the Izzies of the world and even Dreykus, who is now the champ, obviously. So he's basically beaten everyone that is not the current champ or obviously a long-term champ like Izzy. This feels like a perfect fight for Robert to take the dub and kind of hold that rank as the top 2 or 3 fighter in this division without really being able to get over the hump. But Paulo Costa feels closer to the Marvin Vittoris of the world than he does the Robert Whitaker Dreykus class. So give me Robert Whitaker here.
Yeah, no, Grant, I think I got to go with you. The value is just so clear here from a prediction strike standpoint. Rob is a real deal striker with super high volume, great takedowns. His only losses since 2014 are to Dreykus, the current champ, and Adesanya. And he is definitely one of the more well-rounded guys in the UFC. I will say the loss to Dreykus was pretty bad, but Paulo, yeah, I don't trust him. Like you said, like firstly, like he's basically isn't a fighter anymore. Like he never fights. He is coming off a win in like 2022, but he just doesn't fight. But he is a dog. He's relentless, 7 strikes per minute, 79% takedown defense when he actually fights, though, and surprisingly good cardio. He has more canceled fights than he actually has fought in by a factor of 5-1 in the last few years. I think the last 3 years, which is insane. But Whitaker is just a better, more well-rounded fighter. I would urge you just not to overthink this one and buy Robert Whitaker. The value is just very apparent on prediction strike. Probably my favorite value play of the card if this doesn't get canceled. Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the head, we have the main event, Volk versus Topuria. Tell me how it goes
That
down.
Volk graph is insane.
It is crazy. We'll just look at it one more time.
It's crazy. Looks like Batman.
I am Batman.
That
All
is
right,
crazy.
walk us through this.
So this is one of the biggest price. This is the biggest price disparity on the card. Volkanovski priced at $17 plus, and Ilya is at $8.49. Volkanovski, if you didn't know, one of the best pound for pound fighters ever, one of the greatest featherweights of all time. With a division he's not lost in, but it's still close. Like, he's getting old. There is a kind of conversation about how he's too old to fight anymore. He tried to quash that himself with a little social media campaign. And I trust him. I mean, the Islam fight was concerning. He got knocked out cold, and at this age, especially with everyone literally telling him in his face every day that he's too old to do this fight, like, maybe he gets a bit chinny after that. Maybe it signals a downward spiral, but I think you're probably better off zooming out and looking at his entire body of work here instead of worrying too much about that Islam fight. Yeah, Ilya on his side, he's incredibly well-rounded himself. Definitely the more dangerous of the two fighters, especially at Volk's age. And he's a good wrestler, averages more than 2 takedowns a fight. He is going to try to strike more, and depending on how the fight goes with Volk, will try to incorporate wrestling. He's coming off the fight against Josh Emmett, where he had 3 takedowns and almost double the significant strikes of Josh Emmett. It's just, I don't really agree with the too old narrative here necessarily. I think Ilya is probably the only person in this division that can actually beat Volk, but we've never seen him fight anyone that's comparable. I do think Volk can get it done still at this age, but I'm going to go with Ilya here, especially considering the value on Prediction Strike. I think, this is where we're going to see right here, this fight. If Ilya is our future champion, like, he is nasty.
You heard it.
Yeah, this one's tough because I think if you're taking it at a sportsbook or a consensus site, it's almost like taking Patrick Mahomes as an underdog in the Super Bowl. Like, you see Volk with basically even odds in this division where he's never lost. I think that's almost a must. I mean, it's yet to be determined how he'll react after getting flatlined like 6 months ago, and it's hard to really take that into account at this moment. But it feels like he's still the guy that you would expect to win this fight. I mean, there's no reason to doubt him in this division. He's always looked dominant. But on PS, I think Topuria is a must. I think with that price discrepancy and the ability for him at 27 to potentially be the next Volk in this division and hold the title for a long time. I mean, he's also not lost to this division. So you could see a situation where he becomes the new Volk and his price looks like $17 in a few years. So from a long-term investment standpoint, I think Topuria is almost a must. He'll keep getting chances to climb up the division as well. So even if he loses, you hold that investment. He could easily be right back to this price just after one more fight. I think in terms of the PS value, Topuria is a must. But if you're looking at it from the standpoint of just who's going to win the fight, it's hard to doubt Volk. I don't know. I would say this fight is pretty much a coin toss. And so on PS, when you can get that value, it's almost impossible to stray away from Ilya here. So take that as you will.
I can't lie. It's also hard to stray away from that, like, from the Volk sportsbook value right now, like the minus 120 in the sportsbook. I feel like it's almost flipped. Like, if you're investing on Prediction Strike, you have to be investing in Ilya, and the value is all on Volk's side elsewhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But at 27, even like on PS, like, there's almost no risk because his price would probably go down to, I don't know, low 8s or maybe high $7 standpoint. But that's like a 90-cent drop. And if he wins, he'll go up multiple dollars. So there's a lot more to be gained and less to lose because, if he loses, he'll get matched with someone in the division. I don't know who it would be, maybe like a Max Holloway or someone like that. And then if he wins that fight, he's gonna be right back to this point. So if he loses this fight and you're invested in, just hold, and I would almost guarantee he gets back to this point. So it feels relatively low risk with a lot of potential for that price to, I would say, even double in the span of a couple of years. So
Absolutely.
All right.
yeah.
Well, that appears to be the main card, and now time to dive back into NBA.